What's going on, car family? I'm Ben Wayne. Thank you for joining me in another video. Today, we're here to check out the 2022 Infiniti QX80 four-wheel drive Sensory. This is the top of the line Infiniti. It is a plush luxury barge going up against the likes of full-size luxury SUVs such as the Mercedes-Benz GLS, the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, the Cadillac Escalade, and so on, which is an extremely competitive market, I'm sure you guys know by now. So today I want to talk about the exterior and interior details of this ultra plush SUV. It's extremely hot outside, so I'm going to do a driving review. So to start off, this particular Infiniti QX80 is finished in anthracite silver, and as you can see, it features a beautiful saddle brown leather interior. We'll get to that in a bit. But the first thing that this vehicle leaves you with is an impression. You know, whether you like it or hate it, it definitely has a presence because it is just so large and it has tons of chrome on the outside that highlights different details. So starting at the front, we do have LED daytime running lamps and LED headlamps as well. You're greeted by a nice large Infiniti grille with chrome accents as well. And then coming lower, you do have additional chrome accents and some fake vents, and also your forward-facing camera as well. So underneath the hood, this vehicle is powered by a 5.6 liter V8. This is naturally aspirated. It's going to give you 400 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. Now it's connected to a 7-speed automatic transmission. That's going to give you a 0 to 60 time of about 5.9 seconds or so. This is an extremely heavy vehicle. As a matter of fact, it's as heavy as it looks, weighing in at over 6,000 pounds. So a 0 to 60 time of 5.9 seconds isn't all that bad for the weight this vehicle is. Now, when you talk about the fuel economy, I'm going to tell you guys up front, the fuel economy ratings are cringeworthy. You're looking at 19 highway and around 16 city or so. And real world is probably closer to 17 highway. But nobody who is purchasing an Infiniti QX80 or a full-size luxury SUV has fuel economy at the forefront of priorities. Let me go ahead and floor it. So you can feel the weight in this vehicle. It is truly heavy, but that also translates into a super smooth ride. So coming to the side profile of the vehicle, one of the things that I noticed is that they blacked out the A-pillars, and I think that does the design justice. It breaks up that anthracite silver a little bit. You also have chrome side view mirror caps, which adds to the overall luxury theme with the chrome accents throughout this entire vehicle. Now, when it comes to your wheel flares or your fender flares, they are painted. I really like that about this vehicle. They are painted body color. They're not just a cheap black, which kind of takes away from the overall theme of luxury when it comes to the vehicle. You do have 22-inch wheels. They are massive. I mean, I just feel like I'm driving a steamroller. Those wheels are huge, and behind those wheels, you do have 13.7-inch rotors front and rear. Now, back to the front fenders, you will notice that you do have some side vents there. Those are functional, so I'll have to give credit for that. They could have easily stuck a fake vent there, but they didn't. Coming further back, we do have integrated steps into the design, so that's going to help you with ingress and egress for exiting and getting into the vehicle. That's a nice touch there. I do wish they were retractable and maybe with some additional chrome accents, but that's just me. But overall, there's tons of glass on the side profile, which helps give you the open air sensation that we're getting in the cabin here. So the side profile is truly as attention grabbing as the front is, between the massive 22-inch wheels, the chrome side view mirrors, and again, I love the black accents on the A-pillar as well. Now focusing on the rear, the bubbly theme of this car continues with the curvaceous body panels. You do have a huge piece of glass for your rear window, and then a rear spoiler, which is huge as well. Now, of course, you do have LED tail lamps, and if you open up the hatch with the third row up, you're looking at about 17 cubic feet of storage. Drop the third and second row, you're up to 95 cubic feet of storage. Now, I did notice that there's an aluminum plate sitting on the bumper right underneath the hatch. So that's going to prevent you from scratching up the paint when loading different types of baggage or whatever luggage that you might have back there. If you have kids, that will prevent them from scratching up your paint. So that's a nice touch as well. But overall, from the exterior standpoint, this is an extremely large vehicle. And while the design is a little bit bubbly for my taste, you can definitely tell that this is a luxury full-size SUV. Again, the presence that the QX80 has, it just commands your attention. You know, I see these things quite often. Usually they're done in, white or black, but the anthracite silver with the chrome accents, it just really pops. So that brings us to the interior of this vehicle. And I will say the interior is quite spacious. Honestly, with the comfort amenities in here and just the overall design, how everything's just a little bit overdone and plush, it makes you feel like you're driving around in your living room a little bit. So we'll start off with the top of the dash. You have contrast stitching there, and then coming forward, you'll notice you have a nice large 12.3-inch display screen there with your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And of course, they are wireless, right? No connecting your smartphone, just to get Apple CarPlay functionality there. So I like that. The screen is nice and sharp, and of course, it's nice and super responsive. Easy to use, very intuitive. Now you also have this rear view mirror here. You'll notice that instead of an actual mirror, it has an image of what the rear camera is seeing, and that gives you a nice high definition view of what's behind the vehicle without having any interruptions of maybe passengers in the back. So you see directly what's behind the vehicle, and if you don't like that, you can easily switch that off for your traditional mirror. I think that's a very nice touch. Pretty much every car should have that as an option. Coming further down, everything is nice and organized. So the refresh ditches the 2-screen setup that they had here. Everything looks nice and simple and clean. I really like that. It brings an ease of use to the functionality. You have your volume knobs, your tuning knob, air conditioning vents, controls for your air conditioning. Not everything is based on the touchscreen, so I like how we still have the use of physical knobs and controls in here. That's very nice. Underneath here, we do have a hidden panel that gives you access to your wireless charging and phone storage. And of course, you do have a USB Type-C port and a traditional USB-A port as well. Now, one thing I will mention is I love the wood accents throughout the vehicle. Almost looks like it's marble or something like that. Really just, again, steps up the amount of luxury that you feel when sitting inside the QX80. Now, the seats, you're getting 3 levels of heating and cooling, and the seats are so plush and soft with this semi-aniline leather, it just makes you feel like you're sitting on a couch. And that is one of the characteristics that you want in a vehicle like this. This is a vehicle that's like a family cruiser, right? You could easily sit multiple people in here, and this would be something that would be excellent if you're taking a long road trip, assuming that you're not one of those people who has to have an extremely fuel efficient vehicle, right? I'm not gonna lie to you, but the comfortability in here is just really on another level, and the seats exude comfort. They really do. Now look at the detail that Infiniti went and provided in the seats with the stitching. You kind of have this wave-like diamond pattern here, and I think that just, again, it just screams luxury. And that theme is continued throughout the entire vehicle. Even the back of the seats feature this theme here. So that's attention to detail. To have stitching on the back of the seats really shows you that Infiniti, they went out their way to make you feel like you're riding in something that's truly special, something that's unique. A lot of other manufacturers, they'll do it up on the front of the seats, sure, but when it comes to the back, it's just plain Jane back there. So I noticed those details. I think that's really nice. Now coming over to the door panels, you're still getting that saddle brown leather, and then that wave-like pattern, they hit you with that again. So it's just really plush in here. And again, the attention to detail really makes you feel like you're getting your money's worth. Of course, the door panels feature controls for all 4 windows and your side view mirrors. And then coming lower, you do have plenty of storage on the bottom of these door panels here, enough for a couple bottles of water. I know because it's hot, and that's what I have in the door panels right now. Now, I will say, when it comes to the natural lighting inside the cabin, the QX80 falls a little short when it comes to its competition, because what you're getting here is just a simple sunroof. All the other competition seems to have a panoramic roof that brings light to the first, second, and third rows. That is something I definitely would have liked to have seen in this $90,000 vehicle. So that is a miss. Now, if that's a big deal to you, maybe that's something worth considering. Most people might not care. I just notice it because these are things that I have to look for. Now, when it comes to the legroom up front, you're looking at about 39 inches, which is comfortable enough, right? I'm 5'11", and I feel plenty of comfort sitting up here behind this steering wheel. And of course, speaking of the steering wheel, it's done in wood and leather. I like how the wood is wrapped around the steering wheel, and then you have the leather on the inner portion. And then again, they hit you with the contrast stitching. Okay, stitching makes everything look better. I really like how they hit you with that contrast stitching in the steering wheel. Just again, brings that attention to detail. Of course, you have the Infiniti symbol in the middle of the steering wheel as well. Now, behind the steering wheel, I did notice that we do have analog gauges here with a screen in the middle. I kind of would have liked to see a full 12.3 inch thin film transistor display back there that would have been fully configurable. That's what the competition is doing in 2022. So I'm just going to have to point that out, that they probably need to go with a thin film transistor display behind the steering wheel there. Is that a deal breaker for this vehicle? Probably not. But again, something I just noticed. Now, coming to the second row, you're looking at about 41 inches of legroom back there. And as you can see, since this is the sensory model, you do have 8-inch monitors incorporated into the headrest of the first two seats. So the passengers in the second row can take full advantage of that using the wireless headphones this vehicle comes equipped with, and just chill out in the back and enjoy some media, Netflix, whatever it may be, while the driver is just cruising along the highway. So the second row is definitely a nice place to be. Plenty of storage back there. The second row seats are heated. They are not cooled, but they are definitely heated, and they are quite comfortable. Very lovely looking captain's chairs, again with that beautiful saddle brown leather, and then the wave-like pattern stitched into the seats as well. So again, really looks nice. The only thing it's missing is, again, that panoramic roof. But seating in the second row is quite comfortable. Now, of course, you do have USB ports back there in the second row as well, cup holders, and then plenty of storage in that center console back there. Now, coming to the third row, that's where things start to get a little tight because the floor raises up a little bit. So you're only looking at about 28 inches of legroom back there. So if you're tall, it may be a situation where your knees are closer to your chest while sitting in that third row. So that's something to watch out for there. You do have cup holders in the third row, but there aren't any USB ports or anything back there. So that's just something that is noteworthy. Now, I will mention that the QX80 does feature a third row that can be controlled at the press of a button. So the third row is able to recline a little bit to enhance comfortability, but also if you're at the back of the vehicle, you can raise and lower the third row to increase storage capability at a push of a button. I think that's a beautiful touch. Now, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the ride quality. So again, if you floor it, you have 400 horsepower, but you can definitely tell that the vehicle is working to move that 6,000 plus pounds of mass that it has. This vehicle is massive. And as expected in a full-size SUV, with a higher center of gravity, if you take a turn, you're going to feel it, right? It sits really high, and oftentimes you can feel that weight if you toss it around a bit. Now, is this something that you take on a slalom course? No, but that's just something that needs to be mentioned, because in the QX80, you can feel the weight a little bit more than its competitors, but it also does have that silky smooth ride. So that might be a sacrifice worth making. It depends on who you ask, but for having 22-inch wheels, you're not really feeling much of any surface imperfections on the road. It's a nice, smooth ride, and it's extremely quiet as well. Infiniti took steps with the sound deadening incorporated in this car to make sure you have a nice, peaceful, and serene ride, because after a long day of work, who wants to hear traffic? And you are working if you own one of these. Also, Infiniti incorporated double glazed windows, so that's going to prevent the sound from coming inside the cabin, and it also helps regulate the temperature inside the cabin. So when it's cold, it's going to help the car be able to keep heat inside the car more efficiently, and when it's hot like now, it's going to be able to keep the cabin cooler. So it's going to stop those external temperatures from creeping in so suddenly. It's going to help regulate the cabin's temperature. I will say that the exhaust note in here is rather nice. Once you put your foot down in the throttle, you can hear the muscle of that 5.6 liter naturally aspirated V8. The braking capability, there's not a second that you don't feel like the 6,000 pounds is out of your control. The brakes are more than adequate in this vehicle. There's nothing worse than having a heavy vehicle with inadequate brakes, and I'll tell you that is not the case with the Infiniti QX80. So overall, those are my thoughts on the Infiniti QX80. If you're looking for a massive luxury plush family cruiser, before you pull the trigger, be sure to take a look at the QX80 and compare it to its competition and see what you think. You'll see how massive this is, and you might cringe at the fuel economy, but the luxury this thing provides, it gives you everything that you could want. You have the heated steering wheel, the heated and ventilated seats, the 8-inch dual monitors in the second row. Second row seats also feature heating, so there are a lot of luxury features that are incorporated in here that you might want to take a look at. Let me know what you guys think about this one in the comment section. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next time, I'm Ben Wayne, the automotive reviewer that YouTube deserves.